Hey everyone, Rando and Burn here. Today we want to talk to you about the 5 different types of PFDs.
PFDs stand for Personal Flotation Device, and currently the U.S. Coast Guard recognizes 5 different types. They are Type I, Type II, Type III, Type IV, and believe it or not, Type V. You got anything to add, Rando?
I'm good.
Excellent. Well, that's all you guys need to know. Thanks so much for joining us. Catch us next time.
See you later. All right, man. Good job.
So you didn't really think that's all we were going to discuss here today, did you?
Now we're going to go over the differences between each one. Type I PFDs are considered offshore, and they're required by commercial ships. They're meant for remote locations where rescue may take a while. So if you've ever been on a cruise ship, they're the PFDs that you'll wear if you ever have to abandon ship. So this is a Type II PFD. These are probably what we all grew up with if you ever rode on a boat with your family. This would be a good situation if you're near shore or if you know there's going to be people around that could rescue you safely in a timely manner. So this would be the most commonly used that you would see where people just throw these in the back of their boat. This is your Type II.
Type III PFDs, as the U.S. Coast Guard defines them, are flotation aids, and you only want to use them when rescue is going to be very quick. So they're very popular amongst kayakers, canoers, anyone that's out in paddle sports. So what I'm wearing right now is a Type III. Here is a child's version of a Type III. And the way that you know that is simply off of fit, but you have to do it based off of weight. Every one of them is classified, whether it's a youth or an adult, whatever that looks like, based off of weight. And fit is just as important as weight. As you can tell with this one, this is an adult one, and it is right, but it's not going to fit proper.
It'd probably fit me.
It might fit you. Yeah, it'll fit you better than me.
So this is Burns Life Jacket. A little bit larger. I got that.
Right, so you can see this one's decked out with all my gear. It's already been pre-fit to me, so I don't need to make any adjustments.
So this is a Type III fishing
This
PFD.
is a Type III fishing PFD. This one in particular, I'll do a product review on this at a later date. But in short, it's got all my fishing gear and things like that for me. Anything that I need to retrieve or to use while I'm out the day kayaking and fishing. And you can see it's got adjustable straps to make all the different sections. It's got a high back, which makes it real comfortable for sitting in my kayak. It sits above there, and it's really great. But like any other Type III PFD, which you might want to pursue, especially if you're a paddler, is it gives that freedom of movement. But you got to remember, it's not going to be a so-called life-saving device in the sense of you're going to be stranded for a long time. It's only going to work out if you're looking for quick recovery.
So what proper adjustments would you make on a PFD like this? You've got your strap up here, you've got side straps. What do we have to do to make sure if you do capsize, that this doesn't come up over your head?
Perfect. So each PFD is going to have its own specific set of adjustment straps. You can already see from the other ones we had here, they're all aligned a little bit different, but they are going to have adjustments to make it fit right. On this particular one, we've got shoulder straps to make sure that it's pulling tight to the back padding and the front, so that way that part is comfortable. We also have a part that adjusts on the upper half, just underneath my armpit here, and kind of the waist strap, which as you can see, it's a high waist because of the design, so it doesn't actually get low. But with this one, it's to pull in for form and for function. And what you want is you want it snug enough so that you can comfortably breathe. You want it snug enough so you can comfortably breathe without it cutting off your circulation or your ability to breathe while you're exercising, obviously moving your paddle, things like that. But at the same time, it needs to be snug enough that if you were to capsize and you hit the water with the buoyant material inside here, that it's not going to come flying up and choke you. And as you can see from the way this is, with the material and the way that it's set up on me, it slides just a little bit, but it is not going to go any higher than that on me, and it will be able to keep me afloat.
So this is a pretty standard Type III PFD that I have on. And I would probably take a medium to large. So I have basically the same straps he has. So I would tighten these up, and then on both sides I would pull these in like that. But when you're on the river, you should always wear these. Most of the times we're out on the river, we see everybody with their PFDs down on the floor, or they use them as backrest, and it's very tempting, but we're always teaching safety on the rivers. So for a guy like me, this would be a pretty good vest.
Absolutely. And just remember, with these, you can see it's got the zipper style, and it's got a belt clip that's kind of hard to see here. You always want to do the zipper first and then the belt and make the adjustments. This particular one has 4 different adjustment points on each side, 2 at the top and then 3 down the sides. Just make sure that you read your owner's manual and that you understand the proper form and fit, and that it fits comfortably, snugly, and that it's going to provide the support and the comfort that you need for your time out on the water, while focusing primarily on the safety aspect. Don't ever sacrifice comfort or safety for comfort. You always want to make sure that it's going to be safe first and foremost. But there's so many different designs, so many different manufacturers. There is a comfortable PFD that's a Type 3 if you want to use a Type 3 for your kayaking or other aquatic adventures, that will fit you comfortably and provide the necessary safety that you need. Type 4 PFDs are the throwables and are not worn like a traditional PFD. They are meant to be thrown like a life ring. In fact, life rings like you see at the pool or on other boats are Type 4. Some of them look like couch cushions, some of them look like rings, like I've already said, but they are meant to be tossed to someone that needs rescue or additional assistance. They may even be someone that is wearing another life jacket, a Type 1, Type 2, Type 3, or even Type 5, like we'll talk about in a minute, but they are meant to be tossed and add to the flotation and not to be worn.
So now we're on to the Type 5s, and these PFDs are used where the 1 and 4s just won't work. So the one that I'm wearing right now is what the Rangers usually wear out on the water. We're out working, we're taking out strainers, we may spend 5, 6, 7, 8 hours on the water, and we need a lot of movement. As you can see, these aren't very bulky, and we get the type that has a manual ripcord. So what would happen is, if I would be in a situation where I need this to inflate, I would pull the ripcord, this would expand, and I'll be floating to safety. These are also like the type where you want to make sure that your rescue is nearby. So the rivers we're on, we can always swim to shore. So this is a kind of a quick fix PFD.
Well, it's a special use.
Yeah.
When you look at the U.S. Coast Guard's classification, they fall under special use, which basically means a situation where any of the Type 1 through 4 doesn't work. We said last that Type 4 isn't one you're going to wear, so obviously that's not something you can keep on your person, but you keep it on your boat. But Types 1, Type 2, Type 3, for the types of work that we're doing, this is useful because it's not as bulky even as a Type 3. However, because of the way that it's designed, you can pull the tab, and once it inflates, which is nearly instantly, it has the same buoyancy as a Type 3. So for all intents and purposes, it's a Type 5 classification, but it has Type 3 buoyancy, and that's how it's approved under the Coast Guard. So as soon as that cord gets pulled, it's now a Type 3 life jacket.
Well, there's another thing. We purposely get the manual ripcord because they make these that come on automatic, or you can also buy them where they're automatic and with the manual. We get the manual because we're in the water so much. If we had to jump in the water to extract a strainer or a snag, these would be expanding all the time, and that would get very expensive because inside here is a cartridge, and you can buy these. What are these called?
There's CO2, it's carbon dioxide cartridges, and you need to make sure you get the right one for the right manufacturer. Any CO2 cartridges won't just work, so just make sure you read your owner's manual and the manufacturer's specs, because you don't necessarily have to get the same brand as the manufacturer, but you do need to get the right shape, size, and volume, because the cartridges can be different amounts. You certainly don't want to underinflate, then you don't have the right buoyancy. If you overinflate, you could actually pop the bladder that inflates. So make sure that you're just lining it up, doing it properly. And like Rando said, you can get them in a manual or an automatic, and some of them actually have the ability to switch from one to the other. And specifically for us, when we are getting wet or getting in the water and we're doing our stuff, we need to have the safety, so if something was to happen, we can pull the cord right away. I happen to have one that is a belt style. It just looks like an old 80s or 90s fanny pack, but when you pull the cord, it comes out and it gives me something to loop over my chest, so it gives me an opportunity to be rescued, just like the Type 3s are. So in these situations, it's a Type 5 because it's a special use scenario, but with this case, it's going to be a Type 3 when it's put into use.
Yeah, so basically the important thing here is select the proper PFD for your type of boating. If you're in a motorboat, you're in a canoe, a kayak, it's going to be a different situation. So one thing that we do as Rangers, we usually keep a couple PFDs with us, so we'll wear like the Type I, we'll keep a Type III in the boat for different situations, and we always have a backup. So I would say we're going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for visiting us here at the Ranger Station. This is what we call the office here. If we're not here, we're out paddling. So
Join us next time.
we'll see you next time.